The next sutta is 5.12.114. On one occasion, when the Exalted One was dwelling among the Magadhis at Andhakavinda, the Venerable Ananda came to him, saluted and sat down at one side. And the Exalted One spoke thus to the Venerable Ananda, so seated. Ananda, the monks that are novices, lately gone forth, come newly to this Dhammavinaya. Those monks, Ananda, verily must be made to take heed of and enter into and stand fast in 5 things. What 5? Say thus, come you sirs, be virtuous, live restrained in the restraint of the Patimokkha, perfect in conduct and resort, seeing danger in the smallest fault, and endeavor to train in the steps of the training. Thus must they be made to take heed of and enter into and stand fast in the restraint of the Patimokkha. And say thus, come you sirs, live with the sense doors guarded, guarding mindfulness, skillful in mindfulness, with the ways of the mind well watched, possessed of a mind that is guarded and aware. Thus must they be made to take heed of and enter into and stand fast in the restraint of the senses. And say thus again to them, come you sirs, be little in talk, make a limit to talk. Thus must they be made to take heed of, enter into and stand fast in the limiting of talk. And say thus to them, come you sirs, be forest dwellers, seek you the ways of the forest wilderness, the outland bed and seat. Thus must they be made to take heed of, enter into and stand fast in seclusion as to the body. And say thus to them, come you sirs, be right in view, seeing right. Thus must they be made to take heed of, enter into and stand fast in having right view. Ananda, the novices lately gone forth, come newly to this Dhammavinaya, must be made to take heed of, enter into and stand fast in these 5 things. That's the end of the sutta. It's quite an important sutta for monks. The Buddha is saying that new monks must be advised to practice these 5 things. The first one is to live restrained according to the Patimokkha. The Patimokkha is the set of the precepts for monks who have obtained the higher ordination. The Patimokkha consists of 227 precepts for monks. So the first one is they have to train in these precepts of the Patimokkha. The second one, the Buddha says that they should restrain the sense doors, guard the sense doors, and always be mindful and aware. The third one is they should limit their talk. Talk only beneficial talk, not to talk unbeneficial talk. The fourth one is the Buddha advised them to be forest dwellers. This word forest is a translation, I think, of the Pali word aranya. Aranya is a secluded place. Can be a forest, can be a cave, can be up in a hill, etc. And the Buddha, generally the Buddha advised that new monks should train under a senior monk for 5 years. But the Buddha made an exception if a monk is fairly knowledgeable in the Dhamma and Vinaya, even though he has not completed 5 years, he can go and live alone if he wants to meditate. Because people are different. There are some monks who have are quite capable, even though they are new monks. Then the Buddha said they can go and live alone in forest areas. That is practicing seclusion as to the body. That means kaya viveka. Kaya is body, viveka is seclusion. Then the fifth one is to have right view. And the way to have right view is to study the discourses of the Buddha, the early discourses of the Buddha, to obtain right view. These are the advice that new monks should be given. The next sutta is 5.13.121. On one occasion, when he was staying near Vesali at the gabled hall in Mahavana, the Exalted One, rising from seclusion in the evening, visited the hall of the sick And the Exalted One saw a monk, weak and ailing, and at the sight he sat down on a seat made ready. And when he was seated, the Exalted One addressed the monks, saying, Monks, if 5 things forsake not anyone weak and ailing, for him this may be expected. Before long, by destroying the asavas, he will enter and abide in the emancipation by mind, the emancipation by wisdom, which is free of the asavas, realizing this by his own knowledge, even here and now. What 5? Herein, monks, a monk abides seeing the unattractiveness of the body, is conscious of the satiation or clawing of food, conscious of distaste as to the world, perceives impermanence in the conditioned, and his inner self is well set on the thought of death. Monks, if these 5 things forsake not anyone weak and ailing, for him this may be expected. Before long he will enter and abide in emancipation. So this sutta, that's the end of the sutta. This sutta is talking about the 5 contemplations that is very helpful for a person to obtain liberation. Even when a person is very sick and weak and ailing, if he practices these 5 contemplations intensely, then he can obtain liberation. The first one is contemplating the unattractiveness of the body. Sometimes it's translated as the loathsomeness of the body. The second one is the conscious of the satiation of food, the safid of food, being tired of food, and like a feeling of too much food. Second one, conscious of the distaste as to the world, to be able to see that the world is not so attractive as it seems. Then impermanence, seeing impermanence in the conditioned, all conditioned things. I mean, all things in the world are impermanent; they keep on changing. And last one, the inner self is well set on the thought of death. That means you can see that you contemplate death, always contemplating death. So these are the few contemplations which are very important. The unattractiveness of the body, the satiation of food, or clawing of food, distaste of the world, impermanence of conditioned things, that means all things in the world, and constant contemplation of death. The next sutta is 5.13.123. Monks, possessing 5 qualities, a sick man is an ill help to himself. What 5? He treats not himself with what is beneficial. The first one, he treats not himself with what is beneficial. The second, he knows no measure in his treatment. Third one, he applies not the medicines. Fourth one, he sets not out the extent of his illness to one who tends him in goodness of heart, saying, in going it goes thus, when it returns it comes so, while it is with me it is just thus. Nor is he the kind of man who endures the onset of bodily aches and pains, racking, shooting, stabbing, bitter, galling, life-taking. Monks, possessing these 5 qualities, a sick man is an ill help to himself. That's the end of the sutta. Here, this sutta is saying such a person is not helpful to himself when he is sick. The first one, he does not know what is beneficial, what is not beneficial. The second one, he does not know measure. That means even what is beneficial, if he takes too much of it, that means he doesn't know the measure that he should take. When even medicine, you take too much of it, it can be harmful. The third one, he does not apply the medicines when he should use the medicines, he does not use them. The fourth one, he does not tell the person who is tending him about his sickness in detail, in clearly. And the fifth one, he cannot endure bodily pains. And this type of person does not help himself much when he's sick. The next sutta, 5.13.124. Monks possessing 5 qualities, one who waits on the sick is not fit to help the sick. What 5? He cannot prepare medicines. Number 2, he does not know what is beneficial from what is unbeneficial. Offers what is not beneficial, does not offer what is beneficial. Thirdly, in hope of gain, he waits on the sick, not out of goodwill. Fourthly, he loathes to remove excrement or urine or vomit or spittle. Fifth, nor can he from time to time instruct, rouse, gladden and satisfy the sick with Dharma talk. Monks possessing these 5 qualities, one who waits on the sick is not fit to help the sick. That's the end of the sutta. Here is talking about the person who is not suitable to tend to a sick person. The first one, he does not know how to prepare medicines. The second one, he does not know what is beneficial for the sick person or what is not beneficial for the sick person. The third one, he has ulterior motive when he tends to the sick person. He's not doing it out of goodwill, but he's trying to get something out of it. The fourth one, he does not like to remove excrement or urine or vomit or spittle. He can't stand these things. And then the last one, he does not know how to give beneficial talk. He does not know how to talk, encouraging talk, beneficial talk to the sick person. These are the 5 qualities which makes a person not qualified to look after a sick person. The next sutta is 5.13.127. Monks pursuing 5 courses, a monk is not fit to draw apart from the Sangha or order. What 5? Herein monks, a monk is not content with any robe, with any alms, with any lodging, with any medicines, and he dwells full of lustful purpose. Monks pursuing these 5 courses, a monk is not fit to draw apart from the Sangha. That's the end of the sutta. This refers to living alone. There are certain monks who are capable of living alone, certain monks who are not capable of living alone. And here is the monk who is not capable of living alone. If he's not easily satisfied with any type of robe or food or lodging or medicines, and also he has a lot of lust. If he has a lot of lustful thoughts, then wherever he goes, even though he is physically alone, but he is not alone because these lustful thoughts is his company, keeping him company. So such a monk is not fit to dwell alone. The next sutta is 5.13.129. Monks, 5 are the lost in hell who lie festering, incurable. What 5? By him has his mother been deprived of life, his father an arahant. By him with evil thought has the Tathagata's blood been drawn. By him has the Sangha been embroiled or split. Verily monks, these are the 5 lost in hell who lie festering, incurable. That's the end of the sutta. This sutta refers to the 5 most heavy karma that a person can do, which will bring him to hell for a long, long time. The first one, he kills his mother. Second one, he kills his father. Third one, he kills an arahant. Fourth one, intentionally, he causes the Buddha to bleed. That means he harms a Buddha. The fifth one, he causes a harmonious sangha of monks to be divided. He becomes a batu api. He causes the monks to split, and that is a very heavy karma. The next sutta is 5.13.130. Monks, there are these 5 losses. What 5? Loss of kin, loss of wealth, loss by disease, loss of virtue, and loss of view or right view. Monks, not caused by loss of kin, wealth, or by disease, do beings on the breaking up of the body after death arise in the wayward way, the ill way, the abyss, hell. Monks, caused by loss of virtue or by loss of view, do beings on the breaking up of the body after death arise in the wayward way, the ill way, the abyss, hell. Verily, monks, these are the five. Monks, there are these five profits. What five? Profit of kin, profit of wealth, profit of health, profit of virtue, and profit of view. Monks, not caused by profit of kin, wealth, or health, do beings on the breaking up of the body after death arise in the happy way, the heaven world. Monks, caused by profit of virtue or by profit of view, do beings after death arise in the happy way, the heaven world. Verily, monks, these are the five. This sutta says that a person goes to hell because of loss of virtue and loss of right view. That means he has wrong view and he does not keep the precepts. And a person goes to heaven because of virtue and because of right view. The other things, loss of relatives or loss of wealth, loss of health, that is not so important as virtue and right view. That is why studying the Dhamma is so important, because it gives us right view, and from right view we will naturally keep the precepts and attain virtue or moral conduct. So always remember, right view is very, very important. Sutta number 5.14.133. The Buddha said, monks, the Raja who rolls the wheel, a Dhamma man, a Dhamma Raja, rolls on indeed no unroyal wheel. And when he had thus spoken, a certain monk said to the Exalted One, but who, Lord, is the Raja of the Raja, the roller of the wheel, the Dhamma man, the Dhamma Raja? It is Dhamma, monk, said the Exalted One. Herein, monk, the Raja, the wheel roller, the Dhamma man, the Dhamma Raja, relies just on Dhamma, honors Dhamma, reveres Dhamma, esteems Dhamma, with Dhamma as his standard, with Dhamma as his banner, with Dhamma as his mandate. He sets a Dhamma watch and bar and ward for folk within his realm. He sets a Dhamma watch and bar and ward for warrior and camp follower, for Brahmin and for householder, for town and country folk, for recluse and for Brahmin, for beast and bird alike. Thus indeed, monk, that Raja, setting a Dhamma watch and bar and ward for folk and creatures within his realm, rolls on the wheel by Dhamma, and that wheel may not be rolled back by the hand of any hostile creature. Even so, monk, the Tathagata, Arahant, Sama Sambuddha, a Dhamma man, a Dhamma Raja, relies just on Dhamma, honors Dhamma, reveres Dhamma, esteems Dhamma, with Dhamma as his standard, with Dhamma as his banner, with Dhamma as his mandate. He sets a Dhamma watch and bar and ward for monks, saying, follow you such a practice indeed, not that other. Follow you such a practice in word, not that other. Follow you such a practice in thought, not that other. Follow you such a livelihood, not that other. Seek you such a town or village, not that other. So too for nuns and lay disciples, both men and women. Thus indeed, monk, that Tathagata, setting a Dhamma watch and bar and ward, for monk and nun, for lay disciple, both man and woman, rolls on by Dhamma, the unsurpassed wheel of Dhamma, and that wheel may not be rolled back by recluse, Brahmin, Deva, Mara, Brahma, or by any in the world. That's the end of the sutta. Here the Buddha is saying that the Buddha, the Dhamma king, reveres Dhamma, has Dhamma as his Raja. So even the Buddha as a Raja, as a king, which is the Dhamma. He honors Dhamma, he reveres Dhamma, he acts according to Dhamma. Remember the other day we read one sutta how the Buddha said because of respect for Dhamma, whenever he teaches Dhamma, he takes a lot of care in teaching the Dhamma. So too for us, we must always honor Dhamma and live our lives according to the Dhamma. The next sutta, 5.14.137. Monks, these 5 sleep little by night, they are much awake. What 5? A woman longing for a man sleeps little by night, is much awake. So too a man longing for a woman sleeps little by night, is much awake. A thief longing for booty, for what he wants to steal, sleeps little by night, is much awake. A Raja bent on royal business sleeps little by night, is much awake. A monk longing for bondage liberation sleeps little by night, is much awake. Verily monks, these 5 sleep little by night, they are much awake. That's the end of the sutta. So you see, different people have different reasons for sleeping little at night. Some because of desires, a thief waiting to steal somebody's things, the Raja, the king, busy with all his office duties, and the monk longing for liberation, is tired of all this dukkha, so he strives very hard so that he doesn't sleep much at night. But then even though he doesn't sleep much, he does need sleep. The more developed his mind is by samadhi, he sleeps the less. The next sutta is 5.15.141. Monks, these 5 persons are found living in the world. What 5? One who gives and despises a man. One who despises a man by living with him, or lives with another and despises him. One who has a mouth to take in anything. One who wavers, and one who is foolish and mind-tossed. And how, monks, does a person give and despise a man? Herein, monks, a person to a person gives requisites, the robe, alms, lodging and medicines, and thinks, I give, this fellow receives. He gives and despises him. Thus, monks, a person gives and despises a man. And how, monks, does a person despise a man by living with him? Herein, monks, a person lives with a person for 2 or 3 years. By living with him, he despises him. Thus, monks, a person despises a man by living with him. And how, monks, has a person a mouth to take in anything? Herein, monks, a person, while another is being spoken of in praise or blame, just promptly revels in it. Thus, monks, a person has a mouth to take in anything. And how, monks, does a person waver? Herein, monks, a person is uncertain in faith, uncertain in devotion, uncertain in affection, uncertain in goodness. Thus, monks, a person wavers. And how, monks, is a person foolish and mind-tossed? Herein, monks, a person does not know good conditions from bad, does not know blameworthy conditions from blameless, does not know low conditions from lofty, does not know whether conditions are evenly mixed with bright and dark qualities. Thus, monks, a person is foolish and mind-tossed. Verily, monks, these 5 persons are found living in the world. That's the end of the sutta. Here, the first one, the Buddha is talking about the kind of person who gives to another and because of that despises the other fellow. Like some people, they don't have much respect for monks. Sometimes they give in, like he throws some things, like giving to a beggar. And some people, they think monks receive all the time and they because of that, they don't like monks. Some people, they give and then they lose respect. The second one, by living with another person, a person looks at all his faults and learns to despise him. He forgets that he himself has faults. We all have faults. It's very easy to look at another person's fault. And the third one, he has a mouth to take in anything. While another person is being spoken of in praise or blame, just promptly revels in it. I suppose this is a type of person who is a gullible person. Whatever he hears, he accepts without investigating. And then the fourth person is a person who wavers. Whatever he does, he has a lot of doubts. And having doubts is one of the 5 hindrances that prevent us from seeing things as they really are. The mind is unsteady, and the only way we can overcome this doubt is to have strong samadhi. When the mind is very strong, then whatever problem comes up, we can examine it very clearly, then we won't have doubt. And the last person is a person who is foolish and mind-tossed. He cannot differentiate between good and bad conditions from blameworthy and blameless conditions. As a foolish person, these are the different kinds of person found in the world. The next sutta is 5.15.143. Once, while he dwelt near Vesali at the gabled hall in Mahavana, the Exalted One, early one morning, after dressing, took bowl and robe and entered Vesali for alms. Now at that time about 500 Lichavis were meeting and seated at Sarandada shrine, and this talk occurred. Rarely are the 5 treasures revealed in the world. What 5? Rarely is the elephant treasure revealed in the world. Rarely the horse treasure, the jewel treasure, the woman treasure, and rarely the householder treasure. Rarely are these 5 treasures revealed in the world. I'll just stop here for a moment. These people are talking about the 5 rare things that appear in the world when a wheel-turning king, a universal monarch, appears in the world. This universal monarch is a king who has so much blessings and merit that he is able to rule the whole world. And when he appears, these treasures also appear, and he owns them. Now to continue the sutta. Now these Lichavis had put a man in the road, saying, "When, my man, you see the Exalted One coming along, come and tell us." And the man saw the Exalted One a good way off coming along, and he went and told the Lichavis, saying, "Sirs, here comes this same Exalted One, Arahant, Sammasambuddha, and now's the time to do what you meant." And the Lichavis approached the Exalted One, saluted him, and stood at one side. And so standing, they said, "Lord, it were good if the Exalted One were to visit Sarandada shrine out of compassion." The Exalted One accepted in silence. And when he had come to the shrine, he sat down on the seat they had made ready. And so seated, he said this to the Lichavis, "What did you talk of, O Lichavis, as you sat here together just now? What talk between you was interrupted?" "Lord, as we sat together, the talk turned on how rarely the 5 treasures are revealed in the world." "What 5? Rarely is the elephant treasure revealed in the world. Rarely the horse treasure, the jewel treasure, the woman treasure, the householder treasure. Rarely are these 5 treasures revealed in the world." And the Buddha said, "Truly with you Lichavis, sense-enthralled, talk between you turns to things of the flesh. 5, O Lichavis, are the treasures rarely revealed in the world. What 5? The Tathagata, Arahant, Sammasambuddha is rarely revealed in the world. Rare in the world is a person able to teach Dhamma Vinaya, declared by the Tathagata. Rare is a person able to appreciate the teaching. Rare in the world is a person who conducts himself in Dhamma by Dhamma, recognizing the teaching Dhammavinaya declared by the Tathagata. Rare in the world is a person who is grateful and thankful. Verily, O Lichavis, these are the 5 treasures rarely revealed in the world. That's the end of the sutta. Here the Buddha declares a different set of 5 persons rarely found in the world. The first one is a Buddha. I think remember I mentioned that the Buddha said that he looked into the past 91 world cycles, kappas, and he saw in the past 91 world cycles only 6 Buddhas appeared, which means it takes more on the average, more than 10 kappas, 10 world cycles for a Buddha to appear. That's why the Buddha is very rare. The Sammasambuddha, one who teaches the Dhamma. The second one is a person able to teach Dhammavinaya according to the way, like the Buddha teaches, according to the meaning taught by the Buddha, the pure Dhamma and the pure Vinaya. That means the original suttas of the Buddha and the Vinaya disciplinary code. And the third one is a person who is able to appreciate the teaching. One who appreciates the Dhamma taught by the Buddha. See, like tonight, we have this talk, and not many people here. Only about 20 people. KL has so many people, has so many Buddhists, but not many people really appreciate the Dhamma. Some people find the Dhamma very dry. But when you understand the Dhamma, then you learn, then you know how good is the Dhamma. And the fourth one, rare in the world, is a person who conducts himself in Dhamma by Dhamma. That means who lives his life according to Dhamma. That can only be a person who understands the Dhamma, and that is quite rare. And the last one is a person who is grateful and thankful. Every so often we come across ungrateful people. People whom we have done a service to and they don't appreciate and don't show gratitude. But that's the way the world is, so we have to accept that.